Hullabaloo and howdy do. I'm sorry, I lost a bet with channel member Michael, so I had to open up the video this way. This is the first, because this video isn't just directly okay. Even though I'm using a image from GX right here, this video actually isn't just aimed towards Yu-Gi-Oh. This is also in Digimon and shoot any other card game really. So, really quick, welcome to the King's Court. And if you're new here, hey, thanks for clicking on the video. Appreciate it. And if you're a returning viewer, hi, how you doing? Okay, so this is a subject I wanted to talk about because, really quickly here in the channel, if you're a subscriber for, I don't know, a little while, and depending on whether, because we do like, a mixture of different stuff here in the channel, but primarily when we started, and it's still our core stuff that we like to enjoy doing, has been the kind of content we upload is Yu-Gi-Oh, Digimon, and Pokemon. You know, because those are just three series me and Chandler and Michael love playing. You know, we love the cards, we love playing the video games. I've been playing, although recently we've been doing more of playing the video game. Like I've been doing more Pokemon Wi-Fi battles than Pokemon the TCG part. But we've been doing a lot of the Digimon and Yu-Gi-Oh stuff, obviously. And if you're familiar with those, usually here on the channel when it comes to Yu-Gi-Oh, I like to do videos centered around the hero archetype. Because, you know, that's just my favorite archetype. I'm a hero nerd. I'm a GX nerd, really. I'm just a huge fan of it. I got tons and tons of reasons. Really big personal reasons why I just love playing the hero archetype. And honestly, I might go over that someday, but that's a story for another time. And if you're familiar with our Digimon content, I primarily do videos centered around Black War Greymon, because, you know, that's my favorite Digimon. I've never hidden that before. And for the record, my favorite Pokemon is Giratina. And I did play the Giratina deck for a while, but stuff came up, and, you know, I haven't had time to... not really had time. That's not the right way to put it. More like... I just haven't really been playing the Pokemon TCG, just honestly because I've been kind of enjoying the video game more, but that's not the point of this. The point of this is, now, I usually focus on those decks, and in IRL, and those, honestly, are the decks I usually play the most at locals, and, you know, all that stuff, in any kind of competitive scene I can play in, that I'm able to go to. Those are the decks I play, but recently I've been adding in other ones to the rotation. Now, if you've watched our Yu-Gi-Oh content, sorry about that, congestion, my throat's been dry for the last few weeks, sorry about that. And if I cough during this, I'm really sorry. I just gotta get that out right now. I've been playing the Yubel deck as well, because, you know, Yubel heroes, they're kind of like, you know, the boy Jaden, you know, the goat. Those are like, you know, his main spirits. That and Winkaribo, God, I'd love... Any other hero fans out there anyone else would love an entire deck centered around Winkaribo? Anyone else wish that was a thing? Let me know. But, you know, those are the ones I focus on, just because, you know, those are also just the ones I enjoy the most. And when Yubel came out, when the Yubel deck first dropped, I messed with it online, obviously, and I just enjoyed the playstyle, especially since, you know, I'm just a fan of fusion decks. Heroes aren't the only deck I've played, obviously. Like, I've gone over this before in other videos. Those aren't, even though this, you know, the deck I like to play the most, it's not the only deck I've ever played. And that brings in the main focus on this video, because I've always wondered, and it's because I was talking to a couple of my friends, and Chandler and Michael as well, because he also falls in this category. How do they keep up with so many decks? Because I got, like, a couple of my friends at locals who play Digimon. They will always build, like, the newest decks. Like I got a specific friend who recently just built Tyrant Kabuterimon. Not Shelman or Michael, but if you want to check his deck profile on that, go check it out. I'll leave a link in the description. But he builds, like, all the newest decks. Like, he's also trying to build the he's trying to get the new Magnamon. I think he actually has all 4 of his copies now of the new Magnamon X. And he's trying to build, like, that super annoying yellow vaccine Armor Rush deck, and I don't even want to talk about that right now. And so that sort of thing. And he plans on building the seven Demon Lord deck when that comes out here in the West. And I got a friend I have a friend who would constantly build new Yu-Gi-Oh decks. Not as much these days because he's slowed down, but he would constantly build them, like brand new ones. But he sold off a good amount of them. And like I said, that got me wondering because my thing has always been I like to focus on a certain deck and just try to maximize that. So it got me wondering, is there a correct number? You know what I mean? So in this video, I want to talk about this subject, to go over a couple of things, like my personal viewpoints on it, and just, I don't know, just try to get some feedback on that, and just share my thoughts about it. So before we get to that, before we get to the main dish, before the meat and potatoes, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Thank you so much if you already have. We appreciate it, and overall, just thank you just for watching this if you're watching. We really appreciate it. And in the comments, let me know, how many decks do you have in the game you enjoy to play? Now, it could be Yu-Gi-Oh! It could be Digimon, it could be Pokemon, shoot. It could be Dragon Ball, it could be One Piece, any card game. Let me know how many, just out of curiosity. So, and let me know also, do you think there is a right number, or do you just build what you build? Because I think there's nothing wrong. I think that's a perfectly fine, valid reason too. Just play what you want to play. But I wanted to talk about this because there's always a couple of factors that can also affect that. And if you're a Yu-Gi-Oh player, especially modern day, let's be real, money is the big one. So let's start off with that. Now, money is probably one of the big reasons why you see a lot of people not, want to build a bunch of decks in certain games. Yu-Gi-Oh's an obvious example. I got a couple now here in the channel. We've dipped our toes in One Piece, and we have friends who play One Piece all the time. And shoot, I've heard stories of how stupid, insanely expensive that game is. So, obviously Yu-Gi-Oh is not the only one. But, and I've heard things when it comes to Magic as well. I'm not really into Magic, but I got friends who play that. And I've heard a lot of stuff when it comes to having to build, when building new decks, is how much it could cost. So, I feel like that's one thing that, keeps a lot of people from building multiple decks in a game. Shoot, I even have a friend who only has one deck, but for multiple games. He has a deck for Digimon, he has a deck for Yu-Gi-Oh, he has a deck for Pokemon, which I think he actually has to build a new one because rotation's a thing. He has one for One Piece, he has one, and so etc, etc. And that's always been really cool to me. So, that's a really cool concept. If you do that, let me know, but in the comments. But my thing has always been, I like to play the decks I enjoy. And for me, that's always been, I personally have found the magic number is 2. Now, the reasoning why 2 is because, let's be honest, no matter what, if you really enjoy a deck, sometimes you might get bored by it. I mean, I've done that before, I'm not going to lie. I love heroes. Again, favorite archetype, that's always going to keep me wanting to play Yu-Gi-Oh, honestly. Especially in this crazy time in the game right now. But, in all honesty, there have been times where I'm like, you know what, I might try something else. And it could be any kind of deck. Like, here in the even though I've talked, Heroes is a rogue deck, I've personally never been one of those people that has a problem with people building meta decks. I got friends who are complete meta whores, I'm not gonna lie. They watch this channel, so they know who they are if they're hearing this. You know who you are, man, and they are meta capital whores. If I'm in all honesty, so I don't have a problem with people who build meta. I've played meta decks in Yu-Gi-Oh too. I played what's a good example? I played Dark Warrior Synchro Spam. The deck before Sign Frame Lord Omega got hit to 1, where you spam that thing at 3 and Trishula just to empty out your opponent's hand. It was nasty. That deck was mean. It was fun too. I'm not gonna lie. I played Dinosaurs when the Destruction deck barely came out. Come on, that deck was cheap as hell. You just need 3 of that deck, you were good. So I played that. what else? Oh, I played Dragon Link for at the beginning when Guard Drag before the Guard Dragons, any of them were hits. So I played a pretty toxic deck too with that. So I've played some pretty some pretty well known meta decks, and I've never had a problem with that. And that's why I don't really have an issue like if people who want to they want to win, they build meta decks. I'm like, okay, cool, more power to you. But I always wonder how many it's too many because me, I like to focus on what I like. If I don't like, that's just the only thing that keeps me from wanting to build certain meta decks. Like right now, Digimon, like I said, Magnamon is well, okay, not the top deck. The top deck right now is definitely Poopmon. I'm just kidding, but you know, Numamon. I'm not really a fan of that playstyle, and Yu-Gi-Oh! Obviously that's fire, and no thank you. One, not gonna lie, I'm not a fan of the playstyle, and two, the money, no thanks. I'm good, man. I'm good on that one. So that's like my viewpoints when it comes to that. So I like to focus on the decks I like to enjoy, and as a result of that, I usually have a couple, one or two, like maximum two decks in a format, or at least in a game where that's those the ones I focus on. Right now in Yu-Gi-Oh, it's Heroes, obviously, and I've been playing Yubel as well. And those are the decks I want to keep playing right now. And in Digimon, I play, obviously, man, I don't even know if you can really call it Black War Greymon anymore, because it's like War Greymon Tribal, I guess you could say. Because I do take in, obviously, you know, the Raid War Greymon cards. Because if you watch Digimon, that's just too good not to play. And I also recently in Digimon, if you watch our Digimon content, if you want to see a deck profile, I started recently playing Red Hybrid. And it is a lot of fun. Red Hybrid is super fun, I'm not going to lie. Plus it still fits into the theme, because that's the thing. Here in the channel, I like to play Heroes, obviously, and Yubel is like kind of in the same realm, you know, because of GX and all that. And when it comes to Digimon, I like to play Greymon decks because, like I said, that's my favorite Digimon. It's my favorite line. So it kind of, I mean, I've also even played Shine Greymon as well, and and if you want to see me rebuild Shine Greymon, and start doing some videos with that, let me know in the comments. I'll probably rebuild that too because that deck was a lot of fun. Gonna be getting more stuff soon too, so hey, I'm excited for that. So that's always been my thing. I like to play the decks I enjoy, and 2 is usually the magic number for me. It gives me usually two decks that are, because like I said, I have a play style. You know, Yu-Gi-Oh! I like fusion decks, obviously. I've even played Dragon Maids before. That deck was pretty fun, actually. Not gonna lie. And so I played those. And Digimon, like I said, I like red decks primarily. I did play other red decks before in Digimon. I played Gallantmon for a little while. I had Examon for a little while, but I'm not gonna lie, the playstyle just wasn't me. So yeah, that's just what I've always done. I feel like 2 is the right number because it gives you, you know, variety. So if you don't feel like playing one deck, you can play the other. You know, go back and forth. You can focus on them, and this is not too many. Plus, another thing you could do that I also do, if you could have one deck that's like your main, because let's be real, some decks just really can't compete. You know what I mean? Like, what's a good example? In Yu-Gi-Oh, you could obviously have your favorite deck, that, you know, your pet deck, in a way you could call it. You know, your favorite deck you like to play. But let's be real, we've all done that. 9 out of 10 times, it just could be not that good. Like, I know a lot of people who play like, what's a good example? Like, I got a friend who still, man, he knows who he is. He watches these videos. He plays Blue Eyes, and he's gone on record tons of times saying just how much Blue Eyes, I don't want to say sucks, but how much Blue Eyes is just like, isn't like the top tier Seto Kaiba, you know, third-rate duelist and all that sort of thing. So, you know, he plays that, but he also plays Tenpai Dragons. So he's got like a main competitive deck and a deck he likes to experiment with. He also plays Red Dragon Archfiend. Shoot, some of you watch the channel, you probably know who I'm talking about. And channel member Michael, right now he's been like not playing Yu-Gi-Oh as much, just because he's been really enjoying Digimon right now, but he plays primarily Cyber Dragons and Earth Machines. He's a big machine fan, if you couldn't tell. And me, it's right now, Heroes is my favorite deck. I'm never dropping that deck. And bro, right now, probably Yubel, most people would probably consider a little bit more high, a little more high tier, especially when the new Fiendsmith cards come out, and especially when we get Phantom Yubel. Oh man, that deck might. The Fiendsmith cards are gonna make things more. It's gonna be another tier 0 deck. Let's be real here. So, well, hopefully I can get some of those. The price, oh man, the price on those. I am not looking forward to that. Man, maybe I could probably see if I can maybe get a box so I'm lucky. Maybe open that here in the channel. If you're interested in seeing that, let me know. But yeah, that's always been like my personal thing. 2 decks, primarily, and usually the second one is like the more, I guess you could say top tier one. The same thing with Digimon right now. Black War Greymon, man, I love the deck. But right now, War Greymon in general just isn't... It has a hard time dealing with a lot of decks, especially Tyrant Kabuterimon. Oh my god, if you've... Oh man, playtesting against Chilmer and Michael with that deck has been a nightmare. Oh my god. Tyrant Kabuterimon, I'm not gonna lie, it does what Black War Greymon X does, but I think it hurts to say this, just because again, that's my favorite Digimon, but I gotta be honest, Tyrant Kabuterimon kind of does it better. It sucks to say, and man, I know Michael's not going to let it go if he hears me saying this, but yeah, Tyrant Kabuterimon does what Black War Greymon X does, but better. I hate to admit it. And the fact it can make itself unaffected by your opponent's Digimon, and if you have Shivamon, you can't even hit it with option cards, so shoot, almost indestructible at that point. But against Red Hybrid, Red Hybrid's got a pretty good matchup against it. Red Hybrid's also got a pretty good matchup against Magnum. I've been playtesting the deck and against my friends, and it's who have these decks, and Red Hybrid's doing pretty good. And Red Hybrid's always been a pretty good top tier contender, so that's just something I like to enjoy because it lets me enjoy the decks I like to enjoy that might not be able to compete as high as they have before, or just not at this certain point in time, and I still can still compete to try to win. And honestly, that's the way I like it. That's why I usually like to have at least 2 decks at a time. But you know, obviously, not everyone likes that. Likes to do that too, and I feel like it's fine. That's fine too, because this is just like I said, my personal viewpoint. I don't really think there's a yes or no sort of thing, because I got the same friend who plays Blue Eyes and Tenpai Dragons. That dude's got like freaking 10 freaking Digimon decks. That dude's got a lot of them. He's got Pokemon too. I'm not gonna lie, the dude's got a lot of decks. That's the guy that made me want to talk about this subject. So and I got another friend, like I said, who's always building new decks. Same thing, and I got a friend who does play Digimon, but he's been playing a lot more One Piece, and I don't know how the hell that dude affords that. Dude must make bank or something, but he can afford to build all these decks in One Piece. He has like he has like a full, like, remember right, he has like a fully maxed out freaking yellow deck, if I remember right. I think he has like a fully maxed out Big Mom deck, or is it? I think he has both, actually. I think he has 2. He has a maxed out Big Mom deck and a maxed out freaking... Shoot, what other deck did he say he has? Shoot, does he have a max... Is he the one with the maxed out Law? Because I know a guy who's got a maxed out Law deck. I don't know how he affords that either. Ah, man, I swear it'll come back. I'll remember right away. But anyways, so yeah, like, for the record, in One Piece, I'm waiting for a Nico Robin leader. That's what I'm waiting on. But you know, he usually likes to build decks just because he likes the characters. And I feel like that's like one of the appeals of One Piece. You know, One Piece is like, you know, the number 1 selling manga of all time. Of course, there are going to be a lot of people who have certain favorite characters. And what about, and he also plays like Fusion World 2. Primarily, dude's a bit of an edgelord. He mostly just plays Zamas. I'm not gonna lie, but that deck's even crazy too. Fusion World. Then again, let's be real. Nothing is beating Godku right now in Fusion Worlds. That's a totally different subject. But that's just something I want to talk about. So now that pretty much that's just my viewpoint, like I said, I think two is usually the right number. That's just what I like to do. Because it gives you, like I said, variety, and you're not going to ruin your wallet. That's the big one right there. But again, to each their own. So that's why I'm going to pass it on to you. Let me know in the comments, what do you think? How many decks do you have? Do you have like a certain deck you like to play, but you have like a competitive deck? Or do you just like to build multiple decks, depending on what game you like to play? I'd love to read the comments. Like I said, we try to read and reply to as many as possible. And if we forget to, I'm so sorry. And that's pretty much it. This was a really interesting video. If you want to see more videos like this, let us know in the comments if there are any other interesting subjects. And we'll see you next time. Take care. Have a good weekend. Bye.